Hello again, Sandwich. My name is Greg Anderson. Welcome back into another Meet the Candidates episode. It is 2019. We're very excited. The next 30 minutes, we're really going to talk about the school committee and one person who is seeking your vote. On Thursday, May 9th, the polls will be open for you, and your ballot will show 4 people that are running for the school committee: Kristen Bader, Fiona Einison, incumbent Kerry James, and my guest, Steve Furlani. Steve, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's always a bizarre and weird thing to be sitting in a television studio. So
yes, it is. Yes.
I am a freak. I kind of like it, but it's just kind of the way it is. So tell me a little bit about your background, and the newness of this experience is also new to you as it relates to you running.
This is brand new.
Yeah,
to me.
You've never run for an office before.
No, I've been always sitting back watching it, and it's because of the job I had.
Yeah, yeah. So you were in law enforcement.
Yes.
And your background here in Sandwich, you've been here since the
Since 1995.
1995.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about you.
I'm a retired deputy sheriff from the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department, 32 years career.
Good for
I
you.
started back in 1986 as a correctional officer.
Yeah.
Got promoted to chief of classification, and then I went as a deputy sheriff for the transportation unit. Finished my 32-year career, got my pension,
Yeah.
and I'd like to give back to the town that gave my children a wonderful education for 18 years.
Yeah, good. So you have 2 children.
2 children.
One still in high school.
One just graduated last year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and a proud parent. She was 9th in her class.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So you have personal experience with the Sandwich school system.
Yes.
From the past as well as the.
Yeah, from Oak Ridge to the high school.
Are you a regular participant, or do you show your face at the school committee meetings?
It was kind of hard as a deputy sheriff because I worked all different hours.
Okay.
So, when people are sleeping, I'm out on the road.
Yeah.
Transporting.
Yeah.
Or inside the facility. So
Yeah.
you never know when you get out. And to give the life of my children, you have to work hard.
Yeah.
And so you're off Cape. And that's what I always liked about coming over the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I left it all behind. I was so happy when you came over the bridge and
right.
saw that welcome to Sandwich sign.
You have a symbolism, a
Yes.
true symbolism of crossing the bridge and you're in another world.
And leaving it behind, yeah.
That's really interesting. I haven't thought of that. So, here's what I will say, Steve. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to change the oil in the car, mow the lawn, and while I'm out, I'm going to go start a campaign to run for the school committee.
Yeah.
What possessed you? What is your motivation for running for
2
school
things.
committee?
I have a retirement through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and part of the retirement system, they say, give back because you have a pension. So give back to the towns, and I'd love to give back to Sandwich. For the rest of my life, I receive income from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so I should be out there now, coming out of the woodwork and working. And another thing is I enjoyed, my wife's going to kill me for this, and I probably don't want to get it edited out, but
It's okay.
I had 4 wonderful months of retirement, and my wife works for the correctional facility too.
Yeah.
And she came home and said, no, you've had your real estate license since 1986, you need to activate that, and you need to get out there in the community.
Good. So you are an active real estate agent.
Yes, I am.
As well. Kinlan Grover.
Kinlan Grover.
Correct. Excellent. In your campaign statement that you provided with me, you say that you would like to offer the town, after your 32 years of experience in security, but you also want to combine that with your conservative values.
Yes.
Explain that to me. Tell me what you mean by that.
The teacher's salary is 77%, and that is the superintendent's responsibility. At least she brings it in front of the board, and we have to vote on it. But the 14% that I'm really concerned about is the budget, transportation, maintenance, utility supplies, technology, and athletics. I think those contracts could be negotiated and save a lot of money. The conversation, I had a beautiful 2-hour conversation yesterday with the superintendent.
Yeah.
And we talked about the budget, and we talked about her plans for the next 6 years, and we talked about saving money. And one of the things was electricity. There's $410,000 being spent for lights at the high school, and they're working on a plan for solar. which is going to save the school system a lot of money. I can't wait. If I can get involved in that, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd love to get involved in the security of the systems, to implement them, make sure they're right.
Yeah. Okay. So you really do have your eye on some priorities, what would you say as your almost immediate next steps when if today you were sworn in and Steve, you're off and running, you're now part of the team, what would you say are your priorities? You can't boil the ocean, but what would you say your top ones would be?
My top reasons and my priorities is, like everyone, I'm looking in. I'm from the outside looking in, and I need to know and understand. I got this great 21-page budget, and the stats I got from the school system and where we fall in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and what our standards are. And I'm like, there's a lot to get caught up to and then go forward.
Yeah, yeah. I have to tell you, of all of the interviews that I've done of any candidate, you are the only one that actually shows up with a binder. Your research,
yes.
It looks like you've been investing some time in really trying to figure things out into something that's very new to you.
It is, but you have to have the information to go forward.
Yeah. Your platform states that you will assist in, quote, removing barriers so no student is left out or behind. Sounds lofty. It's a wonderful statement, but unpack that for me. Tell me exactly what you mean by that.
In the last couple of years, I've never seen so diversity in the school system, and I think every kid has the right to be themselves. And I don't want to see any barriers. I want to. It is great for our kids to understand other thoughts and not shun them. And I don't want to see any kid ever be left out or ever left behind. And education. I don't want to see kids left behind. I don't want to see them put in a room somewhere. I want to see every kid have the opportunity to see their fellow classmates. Yeah. And let's work together.
Is that and tell me if I'm being too literal, is that really referencing how the curriculum may deal with a special education, a kid that might be on an IEP, or are you just talking more in general?
In general.
In a general sense, okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is very admirable, and I think as we look at what parents are seeking, they don't want their kid to be left behind or forgotten or any of that.
And there's a lot of kids that other kids can learn from. Everyone has a special motivation inside them. Yeah. And every kid should see that.
When I was a kid, it was about getting other kids in trouble. I was the class clown, and frankly still am. I don't understand. I'm not able to shift that. Let's talk about your leadership style. How would you describe your leadership style?
I love to listen. I love to take it all in and points of views. In fact, for the last couple of weeks, my views have changed. Listening to the interview yesterday, the 2 hours with the superintendent. Yeah. I'm so used to saying deputy superintendent.
That's okay. That's all right. Believe everybody comes from their own world. We always use that vernacular. So let me just ask you then, what has changed in your opinion? You're doing a lot of listening after your conversation with the superintendent yesterday. Give me some of the specifics.
Like I said, being the person that was looking from the outside in, you always hear the negative views on the internet and what's going on and the diversity and the problems we're having with one group and the other, council of aging. Mm-hmm. Everyone deserves to benefit from the town. And I just listen to all their views and go, you know something? If we just take the gloves off in this town and apply it, then we're going to have a much better town. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this: the one question the one question that I have as it relates to literally taking the gloves off, and you mentioned the internet and social media. There was a post that you had posted of a very dramatic post about her being a millionaire and over
Sandwich's
six years.
Sandwich's first, newest millionaire.
Yeah. What'd you mean by that?
You know, I wanted to get the town to talk, and I didn't know how bad the talking points were. So looking at Sandwich News, there was only like maybe 12 people talking per posting, and I wanted to get more people involved. So I put that out there, and what my points of view is what I wanted to put across. Well, within 8 minutes, it blew up. I couldn't even talk on my own post, and I had to shut it down. And I said to my wife, "Oh my God, we are diverse. There is a divide in this town about the school budget." And that's why I was so glad when I talked to the superintendent yesterday and saw her 6-year plan and what she has for the town.
So before we get into the plan, social media
It's like throwing meat in
it's
front of piranha. You have a good intention, and all of a sudden it's.
But you have to admit that post was a little dramatic.
It was shock. It was meant to go out there as.
Do you regret it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. It should have been a little toned down.
Okay. So then let's take that to your conversation with the superintendent. Had she seen the post?
That was our first 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, and then an hour and 55 minutes later.
Okay. What was her reaction? How did you kind of smooth those waters, if you will, or did you need to?
I probably didn't. Like I explained to her, it was like I was trying to get the town to talk. I was trying to get more than 12 responses. But when I saw within the first 8 minutes, it went really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not where I intended it.
Right.
And I shut it down.
Okay. Let me ask you a little bit about that conversation. Any wows, any takeaways that you have from talking with the superintendent, who she would be referring to you as 1/7 of her direct reports, so to speak, if you win this. How did that conversation go, and what are your takeaways from it?
I was very impressed.
How so?
And I think Sandwich, over the next 6 years with her contract, I think we got a great superintendent. Like I said on the Sandwich newspaper today, I'm conservative, so I am going to be a little thorn on her side to make sure that her values are put out there. I'm going to make sure it happens.
Yeah. So she sees you on her team.
Yes.
Now. Okay.
I hope so. I hope that 2 hours.
Yeah, sure. I'm not asking you to quote her, but that's a good amount of time for her to be taking with you. Tell me about the fiscal year 2020 budget. It has been unanimously approved by the school committee. You state in your material that you will work hard to balance the school's operating costs. If elected, you will inherit a budget. You'll be part of a new budget, but you will have inherited one. Any takeaways as it relates to the budget process and what you are looking at on paper now?
Well, like I said, with the 14% that I can look into, I want to negotiate the best contracts we can. You know, I mean, $110,000 to use the photocopiers, rent. It's a lot of money. Is there a better way? Is there a better contract that we can do? If the solar contract goes through, this town's looking at a considerable amount of savings.
Yeah. So you're really looking at the detail.
Yes.
In the April 3rd school committee meeting, school facilities and grounds director Jim McGrail had presented his list of CapEx, of capital improvements. Came up with a big number of $25 million, and then prioritized it down to I think $3.8 million. Any reaction to what he presented? Anything that stands out to you in terms of his priorities versus perhaps yours?
No, I would like to have, if I become a school committee member, meet with all the departments, sit down, what are their concerns, how can we save money? You know?
School safety.
Yes, number one.
Number one.
Number one.
And
every parent should send their kid to school and not worry about safety.
So Jim McGrail had mentioned the video, It's surveillance cameras. Geez, I'm not even coming up with the right. I'm sitting with a security guy. I should be using better terminology. But he wants to move it from analog to digital. Really enhance that that technology with the security cameras. Tell me about your feeling of, in general, of school safety here in Sandwich.
At leaps and bounds over the summer. They did a tremendous job with the money they received to increase the security in our school system. Now it has to be implemented. It has to make sure that it's working. And they have the 911 system that every teacher can dial in. Also, the school system, the high school, those cameras do need to be replaced. They have to see what's going on. First responders have to see what's going on.
Yeah.
If something happens in our school system, our police officers are going to be the first one entering the school. They have to know where the problem is.
So our technology isn't quite there yet.
No. And like I mentioned with the newspaper article, there should be motion detectors. Once the place locks down, should be motion detectors so we know who's moving through the school and where it is. Should be gunshot inside the school so that they know if gunshots are going off in the school, where it's located. So police officers can isolate, contain, and control.
Okay. Drugs in the school.
I think Sandwich has gotten a bad rap.
How so?
I really do. I don't think that Sandwich has any more drug problems than any other school system, any other charter school. I just think that it's just a bad rap.
But there is a problem.
All schools have
All
problems.
schools. What do you feel your contributions can be on the school committee as it relates to drugs in schools?
I think, like any school committee member, should be working with the police department.
Are you feeling like you're running on, I mean, you've got this security piece down. I can't imagine anything else in my notes that's more dominating than school safety.
And I don't
Is
think
this your
anything else
thing?
is more important than school safety.
Yeah. And you have a specialty in that.
32 years.
Yeah. You must be talking to parents.
Yes, I am.
You're running for school committee and you're really looking for input. What are you hearing from parents?
I'm not only talking to parents, but I'm talking to elderly people. I'm not people that don't have children in the school system. There's 21% of the students' population in the school system. There's 21% of people over 65. That's where the balance needs to be.
Okay. What are parents, if we can just talk to the parents for a minute, what do you feel are the priorities? You know, there's budgets, there's school safety, there's all that, but what are you really hearing from parents that say, this is what's keeping me up at night as a parent of a kid in the Sandwich schools?
I hate to keep doing this, but I think number one is sending these kids to school and knowing they're safe. Sending the kids to school and knowing they're not going to be bullied. Sending the kids to school and knowing they're getting top education. We are 122 on the state. I want to move that up. And I know Pamela Gould wants to bring the ranking 122 up. And she has a 6-year plan. And we need to back her for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Faculty. Faculty, staff, administrative, everyone.
198 teachers that we have.
Yeah. How many of those 198 teachers have you spoken to inside? I'm not asking for a hard number, though if you have it, that's wonderful. But give me your sense of what you're hearing from the teachers in terms of what their priorities are.
I have not had a chance to talk to teachers yet. And like I said, that's 77% of the budget that I would rather have presented to me through the superintendent. You know, I don't want to get involved in teacher salaries. I think I'd rather get involved after, when she presents it to the school board,
Right.
that we have a $27 million budget that we need to either approve or say, please bring it back and figure it out.
Right. Carve it up.
Yeah.
What relationships, if any, do you have with members of the school committee now?
Just one, Sean. He was the first one that reached out.
Good.
Yeah.
Sean's a good guy.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, and if he challenges you to run a race, he's literally serious.
If he challenges you
he's
to
a runner.
run a race, he's going to win.
No kidding. Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about, here we are in Sandwich Community Television. There's a radio station over there. If I had this type of technology when I was in high school, I would have been through the moon. You have a child that is also interested in this type of stuff. Talk to me about kind of the stamp of approval, or how you feel about this type of technology being a part of our students'
Well,
lives.
not only my son, is my daughter too. I went to high school and I played football.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about theater. And my daughter taught me that. And my son's teaching me tech.
Yeah.
And I am so proud of what they both did through the high school.
Yeah.
And I'm never even had that when I was going through high school, even a thought of like, there's a tech?
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
a theater?
Yeah.
So they're teaching me every day
yeah.
to be a better person.
Social media.
Yes.
You mentioned bullying earlier. Social media has kind of captivated us as parents. We are constantly telling our kids, put that iPhone down, talk to people. People become boyfriend, girlfriend, are fond of each other, break up, and they do it all through text. There's no conversation that happens.
Oh, they talk to each other from the front seat to the back seat texting.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. But we translate that to the risk of cyberbullying and that out-of-touch things. We don't know exactly what our kids are reading on their phones, and they could be hurt by this. Any insight that you may have about that cyber element and as it relates to bullying?
Unfortunately, it's here to stay. It's up to the parents to control it and how much they're allowing their kids to use it. But they need to make sure they're on the right sites and they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, technology is great and it's here to stay, but parents have to be more attentive.
Yeah. Life experiences. I got your background, your career, all of that, and I can tell right now that you could probably kick my butt because you were a correctional officer at one time. Did I see that?
Yes.
Okay, those are tough guys. Those are tough guys. I don't want to upset you, but but life experiences, everything that we have done, the good and bad, factors into the decisions that we're making right now. Help me understand some of those life experiences that you have had that is wanting you to serve your community, to be on this school committee.
Oh, first, the number one tool I had as a correctional officer and deputy sheriff was respect. Respect goes a long way, and it's a two-way street. Of course, at the end of it, we need to win. It can't get past us. But it never ever escalated past respect and letting them know what we need to do. Listen, we need to go from A to B, and this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to respect you. You need to respect me. Let's have a nice transport.
Right.
Same thing. People need to respect each other.
Yeah, boy, that's a key word, respect, because you will be sitting with 6 other people with egos, with experience, with motivations. They got the neighbors that's telling them what to do. You're on television as these are broadcast. Are you concerned at all about the being in the corrections business? You're very private. You have to be very private. This is not such a private endeavor that you're embarking on. How are you envisioning that transition, if you will?
It's jumping into the water and then like, oh my God, it's cold.
Right, exactly.
I just hope I don't drown.
Yeah. Well, you won't drown.
Yeah.
I mean, you may choke a little bit,
yes.
But no, there's no drowning. Any last thoughts that you have? This is 30 minutes worth of like real quick talk.
Yes,
but
I know.
Tell me a little bit. Any thoughts that you have? Anything that you want the parents, the faculty that live in Sandwich, those who can check your name or circle your box there. What do you want them to hear about you?
I wish they'd know that I'm conservative and I have conservative values and I do believe in respect. And I just think that if I hear all the information, then I'm going to make the right decision for the town and for the school board. and working with the other members of the school board, because we have to get it right. We do have to get it right. Like the meeting yesterday for 2 hours. It's like she has a plan for 6 years, and we have 6 years to get it right. You know?
Any concern that you have within that plan? Is there anything that kind of jumped out as, got to study that one a little bit more?
No, I just think it just needs to be looked at, and the budget needs to be looked at, and what's best for the town needs to be looked at and compared, and let's get it right.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. These are called Greg's Top 5.
Top 5, huh?
Top 5.
Please be good to me.
Not even top 5. They're just 5 things. I want you to give me, pick one of the questions, or give me your best answer. So, top 5. Market basket or Stop and Shop?
Market basket.
Favorite?
Why?
Why?
You save money.
Okay, all right. You're a fiscal guy.
Yes,
I get it. Question number 2. Favorite Sandwich High School team sport?
If you mentioned my high school, I'd say football. If you mentioned Sandwich High School, I'd say Knights Theater Company.
Okay, all right. Best place to spend time with your kids in Sandwich?
At home, watching a movie.
Awesome. What book should every child read before graduating from high school?
That's a good question. I'd rather see them see a motivation film that says make your bed in the morning.
Of the following, which name is not of historic significance here in Sandwich? Nye, Wing, Smack Bottom, or Tupper?
Really, huh? Smack bottom.
All right, I just got you to say Smack Bottom on television.
Yes,
See
you
how
did.
fun this is?
Yes.
Those questions are going to all of your competitors. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Yeah,
it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
No, it definitely never is, and it flew by, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay, excellent. Steve Furlani, thank you so much.
Thank you so
I really
much.
appreciate your time. Your chance to vote, my friends, is on Thursday, May 9th, and I hope to see you at the polls. It is very important. I want to thank this program's executive producer and her whole team that put these shows together at Sandwich Community Television. We believe in bringing you insightful, informative programming, and this is part of it. So we're grateful that you're here. I'm Greg Anderson. I'll see you next time.